Podcasting from her kitchen table, it's Jacqueline J. Here with another episode of Cast Iron Skillet Chronicles, where we focus on faith, family, fun, and finance for my fierce, fly, and fabulous sisters over 40. Come on in the kitchen. Coffee's brewing. Pull up a chair and girl, let's talk. Now, here is your host for Cast Iron Skillet Chronicles, Jacqueline J. Welcome back to the kitchen. Why not you? That may sound like a strange question, but I can't tell you how many people I have spoken with that are still waiting, wanting to start their businesses, but haven't. You may have tried something before and it hasn't worked, but guess what? Try it again. I tell you what, I have been involved with Mary Kay, NSA, Melaleuca, ACN, like 2 or 3 travel network marketing companies. What else? Primerica, twice. Innovative Nutrition, and at least 1 or 2 other companies that I can't even remember at the moment. But the point is, none of those worked, and now I realize why they didn't work. Number one, they weren't my company and they weren't my ideas. I was still, even though I had the opportunity to sell products or services from those companies, they weren't my companies. So now, believe it or not, I have 7 streams of income from my God-given greatness and the gifts that He has allowed me to possess to go out and provide services to the marketplace and to the world. So what are those services? Well, I tell you what. I have a podcast. Here we are in the kitchen. Cast Iron Skillet Chronicles. I'm a podcast producer, which means that I produce podcasts for others that have their own podcasts that for whatever reason, some of them don't necessarily want to learn how to package and produce their podcasts for distribution, or some have just decided that that's an activity that they would like to outsource and have one less thing on their plate while they are taking care of the primary sources of their business. So they can record the podcast. I do the rest of the heavy lifting, get it uploaded and distributed to the various podcast platforms, and they still own their own podcast, or they still have their own podcast. They provide the content, I provide the rest. I am also an audiobook narrator. So I narrate audiobooks for those that have books that would like to have them published in a different form other than in paper form, for upload to any number of the for upload to any of the audiobook distribution platforms. I also developed a line of bath and body products in honor of Chantal. The name of the bath and body product line is Chateau de Chantal. I've also established a nonprofit for grieving moms, Triumph Through Tears, which has any number of programs associated with it. I'm also a retreat coordinator, coordinating retreats for those grieving moms as a safe space to be able to just express whatever it is that may be on their heart, whatever they may be feeling that they haven't been able to express anywhere else. And also to be able to just be around other mothers who get them, who know what it is that they're going through. Maybe not the exact same experience, but definitely know the pain, the excruciating pain of losing a child. I'm also a speaker, a public speaker, speaking about grief, and as well as podcasting, helping groups to identify the ways to respond to those who are grieving and assist organizations and churches with responding to those who are grieving and being able to provide the words that those who are grieving want to hear, as opposed to the words that are sometimes inappropriate, inconsiderate, and sometimes honestly just downright rude. So I provide those speaking engagements to those groups. And I'm also an author. I have one book out currently, You Have the Power. Turn your knowledge into a lucrative HR consulting practice, which I'm actually updating. That should be ready relatively soon with regard to the pandemic, and taking the knowledge and skills that you already have and using that to your own advantage, especially with so many people losing their jobs, not being able to find work, etc., but being able to take that knowledge and use it to still be able to generate an income for yourself and your family. I also have new books coming out with regard to grief. One of the new books that is coming out is The New Rules of Grief. There's time out for responding to grief in the same old way that it's been responded to for, I can't even tell you how many years, probably since time began, but there are new ways to respond to grief. There are new rules that I have come up with, and they're really not rules per se, but just new ways of responding to grief and the grief journey. So if I can do all of these things, why not you? And it doesn't even have to be 7 streams of income, as I have already identified. Pick one, find one and get started with it. I was in a class not too long ago, actually a couple of days ago, and for example, we discussed a $35 product. If you had a $35 product or service and sold that product or service to 100 people, that's $3,500. Who couldn't use an extra $3,500? If you replicated that same process every month and just sold 100 of that product or service for 12 months, that's $42,000 a year. So if you happen to be unemployed at this time, just looking for some extra income, a $35 product selling 100 of those a month over the course of a year would generate an additional $42,000. And I won't even go into the exponential aspects, how much more you could generate, but let's even stick to the basics. But you know what? Even if you didn't have a $35 product to sell or service to provide, let's even go for $25. If you had a $25 product or service, whether it's a book, whether it's a class, whether it's a webinar, seminar, workshop, $25, you sell 100 of those seats, if you will, or 100 of that product or service, $2,500. Multiply that out by 12 months and you're looking at $30,000. So even $30,000, who couldn't use an extra $30,000? Or who couldn't even use the $30,000 as a basis to start the rest of the programs and products and services that you may still have laying dormant in your spirit, that God has given you and laid on your heart and hands to do. But none of that will come to fruition unless you get started. So you have to start somewhere, but you have to start. So why not you? If I trust and believe, if I can do it, you can do it. I also understand life happens, stuff gets in the way, and we're just inundated with life situations. But that shouldn't stop us from moving forward. That shouldn't stop us from fulfilling our God-given greatness. So what has the Lord laid on your heart and hands to do? Pick it up. Get started. Yes, there may have been things that you've started and stopped previously. It was interesting. I had a conversation with my husband the other day, and he was commenting on how I don't let grass grow under my feet. If I'm doing something and it's not working and not working the way that I want it to work and the way I anticipate it should be flowing, I have absolutely no problem with putting it down and starting something else. Now, some people may look at that as a negative in terms of stopping and starting things, but I just keep it moving. If it's not working, it's not working. Oh, there was another company mixed in there as well, that had to do with finances and financial services, but it wasn't working. It was a network marketing company, and I had been in it for several months, had paid the monthly required monthly maintenance fee, if you will, not really generating any sales from it, so decided to do something else. And then from there came the opportunity to produce my own line of bath and body products along with some of the other services that I provide. And the cost of materials for the bath and body products, yes, that is an expense that I do end up getting back once the products are sold. But as far as the book writing and podcasting and audiobook narration, that doesn't cost any extra to produce those items and can still receive income in any number of ways. So if you're looking to start a podcast even, get in touch with me. I can absolutely show you how to start a podcast and how to monetize your podcast. For under $100, you could get started with a podcast, literally, as well as start generating income immediately from your podcast with some very simple steps. So go ahead, give me a shout out. You can reach me at lswnetwork.com/contact us. There are a number of ways that you can contact us, either by text, by phone, by email, on our website, etc. But all the information is located at that one link, lswnetwork.com/contact us. Thank you so much for joining me this week in the kitchen. Until next time, take care, stay safe, be well, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. God bless you. Bye now.